man. 122 pounder, 10-5, man. Watch the Goodfellas Sports TV, bro.
You guys come from Walker, Wisconsin. Going to watch
Goodfellas Sports.
Goodfellas Boxing.
Man, sliding out of here today. Let's talk about Tank. So I got some information on Tank the other day, so I'll go ahead and share it. Gervonta Tank Davis will not be fighting Abner Mares. All right. That's a beautiful F1. This is F-150. No, GMC Sierra. It's a good looking color on that. Kind of like khaki. That should look good. Probably was custom. Wish I could show y'all. But so yeah, he ain't fighting Abner Mares from what I'm hearing. Heard the Ryan Garcia fight still being worked on. And one of the things I'm just piecing together, and I just say this is an assumption, that, you know, Canelo just said he got his thing taken off his wrist and shit, and they saying that Canelo Alvarez may be good to fight in May. So I wanted to do it in May. He wanted to do it in May. And Cinco de Mayo. I got some information on Al. Some more information, bro. And I don't know. I'll share that at some point. And on the PBC fighters. At some point, I would look for a video today. When y'all see this, will be Thursday. So I will look for a video Thursday. Maybe weekend. Ain't nobody fighting Saturday. I think Montana love fighting. I don't even know what day of the week it is. I'm so spent, dude. So I don't even know what day of the week it is. You know, what's this, the day? It's the 11th, 12th weekend. So yeah, I'm probably gonna be no deal on chill this weekend. But I ain't been feeling good. But yeah, he ain't like messing with Mares. I guess just same thing with Benavidez. It got the backlash, and they like, well, now they can't do that fight. So I mean, it is what Abner Mares shouldn't be like legally fighting, dude. Like, who clearing him to fight? Y'all talking about my man's versus David Morrell, which I didn't have no interest in that fight. Didn't watch it, didn't care. But man, Abner Mares shouldn't be fighting, cuz. Abner Mares should not be fighting. That's an actual fact. Abner Mares should not be fighting. So that ain't gonna happen. So I mean, he was one of them dudes who ain't want no smoke or Rick and Dial back in the day neither. And I always remember him for that Joseph Ibeco first fight. For him, super duper low blowing Joseph Ibeco, but I had some respect for Abner Mares because he came back and rematched Joseph Ibeco. And Roger Mayweather was Joseph Ibeco coach the second time around. FYI, a little tidbit or whatever. But yeah, I respect him for running the rematch back with him, but he ain't want no parts of ringing the out neither. And he got stretched by Johnny Gonzalez, his former sparring mate. But Jim mate, excuse me. They both, I think, was trained by Nacho Beristain at one point. So yeah, I heard they still working on the Ryan fight. I heard if it wasn't Ryan a couple months ago, it was gonna be Isaac Cruz. But the recent thing I heard, him and Ryan is probably gonna fight. Like I said, I have zero interest in that fight. I'll stream the shit out that fight. So I have zero interest in pretty much nothing that's coming up. You know, Michelle Rivera and Frank Martin, that's a cool little fight. You know, I probably won't be watching it. Got a jam-packed weekend that weekend, but I support Frank Martin. I'm a fellow Detroit native, so I'm gonna support Frank Martin. I don't think much of Michelle Rivera at all. Not impressed, not one bit. Frank Martin is impressive. You know, got a hell of a close behind him in Derrick James too. We talk about Derrick James, but Derrick James, hell of a coach. All right. But yeah, it's like it's gonna be Ryan Garcia, maybe Isaac Cruz rematch, worst case scenario. And like I said before, they build these fighters on premium networks, and on pay-per-view you can't build a fighter like that. You know, HBO was popular because they transferred popular fighters onto the network in the golden era, or one of the golden eras of boxing. So they transferred a lot of them fighters from Tuesday night fights and NBC, you know, boxing and regular network cable. A lot of their fans followed them to HBO. You know, I think Martin started off on HBO too. I could be wrong on that. So you got to remember that. So they was a lot of the fans was grandfathered in. Now you continue to look now, HBO, a lot of the fans stopped watching it. Over the years it withered. They withered away. As pay-per-view came, you know what I'm saying, and became a staple in watching fighters, a lot of people said, man, fuck that. You know, one thing for Mike Tyson, Holyfield to be pay-per-view and, you know, guys like that, but smaller guys, pay-per-view was, my mom said they used to order the fights all the time when I was younger. See, that's the worst thing that happened for boxing, with them to go pay-per-view. And greed. Greed is a motherfucker, man. Every day a lot of us, I think every day we fall victim to greed. We put greed, money, over happiness. It's crazy shit in the world, dude. But yeah, that's what I heard he doing. So you can't build Tank up on pay-per-view and premium network television. It's just impossible. And that's why he not doing the numbers. You know, they say it on free TV somehow, some way. They stayed on free TV and put them dudes in competitive fights. Al Heyman to have a stable full of thoroughbreds, dude. Stable full of stallions. You know what a stallion is? It's not a female. Uncastrated male horse. It ain't no female. But he had a stable full of stallions, bro. He would have a stable full of stallions. You know? But it just wasn't sustainable because you put mismatches on and people don't want to see mismatches. They want to see names. If niggas like wearing name brand over, you know, people say, oh, it's for crazy people wear fake designer. Well, shit, niggas, you can't tell. My Nike Tech suit keep me warm just like yours. It's made in the same factory. And they know, and then when you're talking about brands, it's all made in the same factory. It's one thing to invest into some work shoes that's durable, good for your feet, inserts for your shoes that already come with great inserts in them. You know, that's an investment. Buying designers, you know, where's the investment at? A lot of white people buy their designers with their passive income or with their extra income. You know, y'all buying Benzes off y'all working income. And that's why I always learn to live below your means. And that's why I still live where I live at. You know, I always kind of just like, you know, peep that. Even though I'm about to upgrade in a few, but you know, it won't be. I don't plan on it being in Michigan though. But yeah, man, I always live below my means. So you know, my dad always taught me a car is a car. You know, it's depreciated is nothing. You know, good house, good condo. You know what I'm saying? You gonna invest in some designer, man? Make sure that shit Crocodile, Gator, some good shit. Shit that's gonna keep you warm, a coat that's gonna keep you warm and not be all bulky. You gotta make sure it's an investment. It's an investment. Like I invest in a good phone. I make my money back on my using my phone in a month. Honestly, in a month. And this shit ain't cheap. 2 bands. I traded in. They gave me what? 800. My note. 800. So, you know, it was 2 bands, but shit, I make it back. Now, I ain't had no business to use my phone and all that shit. Then I'd be like, you know, I don't need it. But nonetheless. But yeah, you know, that's what he gonna do. But he has so much potential that could have been cracked into. And what's gonna happen with Gervonta Tank Davis, even though he's maturing, when you don't challenge somebody, and they can use a kid in the classroom, you ain't challenging a genius, niggas start getting bored, y'all start thinking he a buffoon and shit. Or you can't keep their attention span. And that's what happened with a lot of young black boys. They came up with ADHD, attention deficit disorder. And it wasn't that. It's hard when you come home and you got black parents, black mother, black father, black sister, and you go to school and all your teachers white. And they trying to force you in the system. You know what I mean? How do you keep my attention? And that's why you see teachers coming up with handshakes, using puppets, using raps to help kids count. And that's smart. They starting to evolve. You got to start to get your retaliate. I mean, relate. And we used to get, you know, discipline going home, and it wasn't 100% our fault. I would say the grunt of the blame. I would say, you know, it was like 30% our fault, if that. But don't nobody want to talk about that. So, like I said before, he got to get eyes on him where everybody can see him. Versus name fighters. Niggas love name brand. People love names. Despite the durability, despite the craftsmanship of the name, they love name. That's the number one thing about PBC fanatics. A lot of their names are grandfathered in. They love names. You know, you gotta fight names. And had that dude fought names, Tank Davis would be bigger than the mayor. And all they did was stunt his growth, and he gonna step up. And one day they ain't building the right way. He gonna step up, and he gonna lose. Cause he ain't properly matchmake the kid. You know, I've been watching boxing for a long time. Trust me. When you don't challenge these fighters, mother flood plucker. Man, mother flood plucker. I hate people do that. But when you don't challenge fighters, dude, they get in some trouble. So I always tell y'all that you gotta match fighters with against their weaknesses and increments on a lower level, sparring them, all types of shit. And then all of a sudden they got to get in there with somebody that's their weakness, and they go out there and get outclassed because they not used to it. But nonetheless, man, it is what it is. Just a messenger. Message! What he saying? Hold me a minute while drinking your juice of South Central, whatever it is, man. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase shares and notifications. We go live and drop video. Financially want to support the channel. Cash App, $CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal link description. Hit the link tree. Find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the whole nine. Check out the Box Room playlist. Peace.